Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona joins us now. He wants a hearing on calls to defund the police and the correlating rise in crime. Congressman Biggs, great to have you this Independence Weekend Eve. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Dana, as always.
Of course. I am amazed at the 180 that I've seen from Democrats on this issue. It's almost like somebody, I guess, did some internal polling and they got the results back and it was disastrous, because I've never seen so many people race to say, no, it was those Republicans that wanted to defund the police. And the standard of measure that they're doing is, what is it, one of the rescue plans that they had. There's so many trillions of dollars that they proposed. But the funny thing about that, as you know, Congressman, maybe others don't, is that it said that the money in there, $350 billion for state and local governments, could maybe be spent on police. That's not an allocation of dollars for police. What's your take on all this?
No, I think you're exactly right. I think their polling is dropping like a stone on that issue, because people feel unsafe, and they all attribute it to the Democrats and their defund police. So now they have to have somebody to blame. And the bill that you're referencing, you're right, there was $350 billion in, but it was largely put in the bill not for policing activity. That wasn't what it was. It was to shore up retirement funds that have been underfunded at state and local levels. That was the main purpose for that. And they wanted to give some fungibility to it. But the whole thing is, they're the ones that have been attacking police for over a year now, and it's coming home to roost, and they don't like it.
No, they don't like it at all, Congressman, and the correlation with rise of crime, and I understand, causation doesn't mean correlation, but you can't deny that in all of these cities that saw, not just, I think, like for instance, you have the Ferguson effect, but you also have that Baltimore effect too, the drop in morale with police, and you have police officers retiring or leaving the force quicker than they can recruit people to fill those positions. And then there were a number of stories that came out last week discussing how, because of that lowered police morale, police are less aggressive in enforcing a number of these laws that now Democrats are getting upset about. So you see this increase in crime. Of course, when you create an environment where there really isn't a serious deterrent for people who are burning down entire city blocks because of justice, you create an environment where criminals are going to think that, yeah, we can carry on without any deterrence at all. No one's going to do anything to us. I mean, that seems to be what's happening in all of these cities. And of course, it was those cities that saw these riots that had the highest spikes. Your take?
No, I'm with you on that, because when I look at it, I know that a lot of these cities had vacancies before, because being a police officer is hard to do. But once they started not just defunding the police, but attacking them and criticizing them, they also said they wanted to take away qualified immunity. They also said, we're not going to prosecute people that they arrest. And what happens is police, and they get harmed, they're in danger. They don't want to be in danger. They have families too. And when they realize there's no support for them by either the city council, by the governor, or in this case, by the federal and national Democrats, what they do is they say, well, I can find another job, or I can hold on for 4 or 5 more years till I can retire or whatever, or I can move to a place that does have support from the city council, and they leave. And so you have fewer police deal with more calls, because, like you say, there's no deterrence anymore, because nobody's getting arrested, and when they do, they're back out on the streets. And some of these people are very violent criminals, and so that's why you have these massive spikes in homicide rates, rape, aggravated assault, burglaries. All of these crimes are going way up, and they're largely going in Democrat cities. So that's why I think you're right on to say it's correlated. I think some more study will show that it indeed is causative. And it's to me, it's just asinine. It doesn't even make sense. That's why now, Dana, that now they're coming out and they're saying, oh, this was the Republicans that were defunding the police, not the Democrats.
Yeah, and no mention of VP Kamala Harris promoting the bail funds of those rioters. I mean, these were violent people that were seen on camera punching people in the street, burning down entire city blocks, and she promoted the bail fund for these people. That, interestingly, Congressman, that never comes up in these discussions with Democrats.
That's right. No, they're not going to say that. And Kamala, she said more than that. She said that they need to repurpose funds. Joe Biden on the campaign trail said they need to repurpose police funds. Well, in effect, that's defunding the police. They should own this, and I think the American public's making them own it, and that's why they've trying to change the narrative.
Yeah, as you said, they can't run from quotes like Ilhan Omar saying, defund the police is not a slogan, but a policy demand, or Cori Bush saying, quote, we need to defund the police and make sure money goes back to the communities that need it. Well, that's not the agreement that taxpayers had with their communities. And the crazy thing is that, I mean, even if Democrats, and to your point, I think the one poll that has come out, this USA Today poll, that I think maybe gives us some insight on what they're seeing internally, they said 67% of Democrats support. They were looking at supporting police, whether or not they wanted to redistribute the budget. By and large, Republican voters and Democrat voters, there's not as much daylight as people would think when it comes to defunding the police. That their base is not responding well to this at all. And so maybe that, and I would think that they have long memories too, Congressman.
No, I think on this issue, when you're affected by crime, you will remember the individual perpetrator, but you'll also remember the policies that were in place and who put those policies in place. And that's when you hold politicians accountable. And the reality is, I'm always looking for 75, 80% issues where everybody, Democrats, Republicans, can agree on certain things to see if we can move some items forward. This is a 75 to 80% issue, in my opinion, certainly getting close to it if it's not there yet. But the elite have been very slow, from the left, have been very slow to respond to this. And they're still out there talking about it, by the way. I mean, some of these people, like a Cori Bush, like an Ilhan Omar, like an AOC, like the hard left of the Democrats, they're still out there. This is the policy they want. People forget, just a couple months ago, they actually passed legislation here that diverted about $400 to $500 million away from policing activities into federal report managing, and then also took away qualified immunity. They passed that bill out of the House, and it's not going to be good. Not going to be good.